is starting again.
You're listening to the Radcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. We're still here at the Think Billions event. My man Chris Hansen's joining me. Serial entrepreneur. He's a pretty fucking good dude, if you ask me. Good to have you, Chris.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Yeah, man. It's fun. This setting, man, if you and I keep telling this for people when we're talking on this show here at this event, you got to watch this episode. Sometimes, you can get away with just listening, but you got to see this background.
No, this is unbelievable. Your show's great normally, but this is a whole nother energy and vibe we're putting out today.
I know. I can't recreate this vibe in the studio.
No.
But I look forward to chopping up with you. Thanks. Shout out to Howie P for throwing a great bet here at
Howie P.
Think Billions. Howie P. Yeah. Unbelievable castle. He wasn't kidding, was he?
Oh, no. I feel like I'm in Morocco right now.
I know.
And I like it.
Yes, I get used to this. Getting a little spoiled. But, Chris, man, I know you got your hands in a ton of things. I always like to highlight interesting people here on the show and talk about entrepreneurial journeys. I think
Absolutely.
There's a lot of interest out there in that, and I know our audience digs hearing people's stories and how they got started, and you got your hands in so many things, And I know we've got some, if you're watching any of the videos, got some samples on the table. We'll get to that.
Absolutely.
But, Chris, it's just, I know we could talk like anyone for an hour probably about somebody's background, but let's give everybody the Cliff's Notes version of your background.
Yeah, so I live in Tampa, where my main business is located down in Florida. I've got a medical testing laboratory. It's called Genesis Reference Labs. So me and my partners, we all met as sales guys for a real big corporate medical company out in Houston, actually. And, we always had that itch to kind of break off on our own. So in 2018, we had, put some money to the side, started saving together, and we bought a lab out of bankruptcy in 2018 down in Orlando. Obviously, we didn't know COVID was going to happen. The world was shocked, just as we were. Really good for us. We were, scaling, growing, building our business, doing what we could do. And then COVID hit, and we really went all in on that. It was really make or break for us. But we just said, this is it. Let's throw everything we've got at it. We're either going to blow it up or bust it out.
Yep.
And
go big or go home.
Go big or go home, man. Yeah, so we went all in on it, and it was really good for us. We were happy that we could help in that time, obviously. But it was wild. But it was a journey. It was long days, long nights. Making international phone calls, all hours of the day, trying to get supplies. It was chaotic. But that was really our big come up. Like I said, we had pushed years before that. We'd been in the business. But we caught our big break. We've been together about 8 years now. So it was great for us. So after that, we've got a great executive team, great management team. We really scaled the business. We started with 7 employees. We've got 127 employees now. Solid team, good people, hardworking people. And
how many locations?
So we've got 3 locations. We have a lab. The main lab's in Orlando. We've got one in Texas, and we've got one in Colorado.
Okay.
So, we got the right team in place, which kind of freed up my schedule. My partners, let me off my leash, per se.
Yeah.
And they just said, let's go diversify into some other things. And I've always been, kind of curious, always looking for the next big thing. So we branched out into, we just opened a medical aesthetic studio down in Clearwater, Florida, called the Refinery. So anyone down in Clearwater, get your Botox or some laser treatments, come on down.
Nice.
And then we branched into the CBD wellness space. So we've got this company, vacay.usa on Instagram. You can find us. Takeavacay.com.
There you go. Takeavacay.com?
Yep.
I like it.
VAYCAY.
Okay.
And the vision behind that was, we work with physicians all over the country. CBD obviously gained a lot of popularity, but there was still a lot of doctors not really educated on it or unsure about it. So I saw it as an opportunity to kind of educate our doctors, give them something else they can provide their patients with in the practice. Also an emerging industry where I really wanted to try to bring like a whole wellness supplement line into it with incorporating, natural herbs, ashwagandha, lemon balm, chamomile. We're not just focused on the cannabinoids. I think there's a future in alternative, right? Medicine, holistics. I think people are a lot more open to that now. And then we also are in the boating business. So we run boat charters.
I mean, we're covering the gambit here, brother.
Hey.
You are the serial entrepreneur.
We're trying to, got to be diversified.
Yeah, you
nowadays,
are, man. Yeah. All right.
So,
what were the charters down in Florida?
Yeah, so down in
Sarasota.
And Anna Maria Island. So anyone down there?
I've never spent. Is it nice area?
Oh, beautiful. Siesta Key, you ever heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've never been.
Beautiful. It's been rated #1 beach. Years. The sand looks like flour. It's beautiful.
I'll look for the invite after.
I know Greenville's pretty, but
maybe we don't have any white sand.
No, you got the lake life. Come on down and
I'll show the boat down.
Get some sun and salt. You're welcome anytime, dude. Come on down. So we run, day charters, fishing charters, stuff like that. It's a cool business. Great perk of it. Obviously, go out on your boats. And then the newest thing that we branched into is actually the animal cremation business. Real curveball there.
Yeah.
So, my partners approached me with that, and I was like, sure, guys. It's a little weird because we're all dog lovers, But, there's a need there for that. So really our goal there was to try to make it a little bit more humane. So we've got the crematory. And then we also have a plot of land where you can, we'll plant a tree in memory of your animal.
Nice.
And then we're incorporating that into a dog park, so you can, go, pay your respects to maybe your old furry friend and bring your new pup out for a play date, whatnot. So riding off the crematory, we got into the lab-grown diamond space, which, so that company is mylegacydiamonds.com. We just launched that. And the concept there is we can take, the ashes of your animal or even loved one and infuse that into a lab-grown diamond. So
love it.
Yeah, man, it's wild. We can even take the hair of your kid or your grandmother. There doesn't need to be death involved. It can be a living memorial diamond.
Yep.
It's not all doom and gloom over here,
Diamonds are forever.
Diamonds are forever. That's what I say. I go, you know what? Your DNA is in that stone. If Earth disappears tomorrow, you'll be floating in space, and you still exist somewhere out there. Your DNA is still floating around. So that's been going real well. It's definitely a niche business. It's something different. Typically, the response I get from people is a little bit of, shock, but they're like, you know what? I got my dog's ashes at my house. I would do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, and now we're branching into, we've got a jewelry line we're coming out with called Diabri Diamonds, and that's going to be your standard, engagement rings, tennis bracelets, and really the goal there is, the diamond business has been, very controlled.
Yeah.
You could call it a monopoly.
Yeah.
For a long, long time.
Dirty even.
Very dirty business. If you've never seen it, I recommend everyone watch Blood Diamond.
The irony of clarity with diamonds and how dirty the industry is.
Yeah, it's an industry that it needed to be shaken up a bit, and that's what we're trying to do. I think nowadays people are a lot more conscious with their purchasing and the type of things that they're going to invest their money in and they believe in. So, if we can provide a equal or superior product that you can feel good about, a lab-grown diamond, you've got none of the environmental impact of the mining, which is horrible for the earth. You have none of this, unfortunately, child slavery that goes on from the mining of these diamonds, where, the people that are doing the most work to benefit off these, doing the most work are not benefiting off of it. They're living in poverty, barely getting by. So, if we can do something that makes people feel good, look good, It's a win-win, and obviously the price point too is a lot more appealing. It's about a third of the price of a natural earth diamond, but if you look at it on a molecular level, there's no difference.
Yeah. They have names? Don't they have like different names for those kind of manufactured diamonds, or are they just branded names? Like, are they like someone's coming up with brand names for different ones? But I think I've heard of a couple of them, and I just can't recall what they're called.
So there are some large companies,
Okay,
that sell, and honestly,
but it's not. So there's not a manufactured diamond. Is just called a manufactured diamond,
right? Or
there's
lab
not
grown.
or lab grown.
Yeah.
There's no universal name for it other than
No.
how it's made.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I wish there was.
Yeah. Well,
because,
hey, that's what we need to work on. I know we're going to talk about.
Yeah. You're my marketing guy here, right? I believe me. I want something sexier than lab grown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think I was wishful thinking. Like I was like trying to manifest that someone had done this because I think we got to do it.
I think you're on point, which proves that we need something else because it's not sexy. It's not doing
lab
justice
grown's
to
like
it.
it kind of it sounds interesting, but it kind of cheapens it a little bit
Yeah,
unnecessarily.
I agree.
When everything you described that's so true with the mindset today with sustainability and wanting to do right and like all that's right. Lab grown.
No.
No.
You could call it a conflict-free diamond.
Yes.
Conscious diamond,
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get the juices flowing.
So, okay, I want to give some value to like people listening. You guys are obviously, and I think I know the answer because we've talked about it. But for our audience, you're going wide with the instead of like deep on one or two things. I mean, you guys, in theory, because I imagine you could have gone deeper on one or two of the things you named,
right.
but y'all are starting new ones on top of new ones when you obviously are being successful in
Right.
each one of those. But what's the strategy there?
We're big believers in diversification. I think times are different than they used to be.
Yeah.
I think growing up, you're told you get a 401k, you get a good, safe corporate job with a big name company. And I think maybe for, my parents' generation, that worked. But I don't think that going forward is going to get you the life that most people want.
Yeah.
So I think, and I also look at, I remember 2008 and seeing my own, my parents are business owners. They're in the furniture business. And I saw 2008 and the real estate crash and how it affected their business. And I think that really instilled in me, I remember, my mom cutting coupons and whatnot. And it's not like I ever starved or anything like that, but I saw the emotional distress. And that, I think, just really impacted me where I don't ever want to be in this position. I don't ever want to have to rely on other people to a degree.
Yeah.
But also, I want businesses that, regardless if we're in a booming economy or a bust economy, some are bringing in cash flow, which is why I always loved medicine. I wanted to be a doctor. Chemistry, I didn't speak that language.
Yeah.
So, quickly weeded myself out of that process. And, the next best thing was, all right, well, I'll be in medical sales.
Mm-hmm.
So, luckily, met a great mentor. He gave me a shot with his lab that I worked for at the time. And I always knew medicine, it was hammered into me, I feel like when I was young, doctor or lawyer. People are always going to get divorced. They're always needing to see a doctor. So I always knew healthcare was a solid choice. And with our success, you get afforded the ability to kind of pursue the things that you're passionate about and you want to do. So, growing up in Florida, my partners and I were always on the water, wakeboarding, fishing, surfing, whatever it might be. So, when the opportunity kind of presented itself, with the boating business, it was a no-brainer. We knew that we all love this, so inevitably it's going to work. We're passionate about this. It's part of our lifestyle. So, however, I get that that's going to be up and down.
Yep.
That is not an economy safe business.
Right.
By any
But
means.
when it's booming, it's booming.
Yeah. And I I know you're a boat owner yourself. Yeah. What were we talking about earlier? What was the acronym you used for boat?
Oh yeah. Break out another 1,000.
Yeah. No doubt.
It's not the cost of the boat. kind of like Howie P's house here.
Right.
It's an expensive purchase.
Right. Yeah.
But it's the maintenance.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it keeps on giving.
So, but yeah, man, I think it's also just having a wide interest. I'm curious. I like to learn. I certainly didn't ever think I'd be in the diamond business if you would ask me 2 years ago. But I see that not only is that something I'm intrigued by, and obviously there's massive value, but that was something I really did see. Like, this is an industry that hasn't been shaken up. Like, this needs a change. And I think, we're at a point in time where people are ready to receive that change. People are open to it. So some of it is just timing, and just culture, where, you kind of just sit back and watch and observe, and you can kind of see where, at least I do this, you see little snapshots of where things are going if you're really paying attention and observant to it.
What's the hardest part about being an entrepreneur for you? Or like, let's give some value again. Like, I'm sure, we're both entrepreneurs. We could, everybody takes their lashes, but like, what's either like the biggest thing you've learned, like the overarching that surprised you, or, just what comes to mind?
That's a great question.
Do you struggle with looking back, or are you always focused forward?
I'm pretty forward thinking.
Yeah. Seems that way.
Obviously, like you said, you take a few licks along the way.
Yeah.
There's certain things that no matter how much you study, prepare for, shit's going to happen. Yeah. You're going to take some hits. So I think the ability to be flexible and not let that break you. It's a battle with yourself. Obviously I've got a great team. My partners and I, we're like brothers. They're my best friends. They're my partners. I trust them. And we're all different. We each have our own different genius.
Yeah.
If it comes to bookkeeping and finance, I'm not your guy. If it comes to ops and having to kind of lay down the law, not really my thing either.
Yep.
So we've got a good balance, but I think the hardest part is balance in general of life, taking time to still take a step back, enjoy life. It's easy to just say, I'll go on a vacation or something. I'll keep putting it off. It's really difficult when you're in it. You're so driven to get to your goal. And everyone says, don't be in a rush to get to the finish line. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And I've now looking back on, our different projects, it was the most fun when you're in the trenches, man.
Yeah.
Like, when you look back at that, it's just like, dude, how the hell did we get here, bro?
Yeah.
It's, but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's, that's what keeps you going to those moments where you look back and you're like, damn, dude, like, how do we make that happen? We push through this. So, but it's just finding that balance in life, at times staying motivated. But you just keep trucking, and I'm a firm believer that things work out how they should,
Yeah.
God has been good to me as long as I keep pushing and putting the action and doing the right thing. It's like no matter what trials, tribulations, I look back, I've always made it through. So
Yeah.
I remind myself that all the time.
Yeah. I don't think people reflect on that enough, like the blessing of getting on the other side of things. And like, it's not that we take it for granted. Not everyone takes it for granted, but I don't know that we get still in the moment and like appreciate it.
You're right.
And I don't, it's a terrible thing that we don't do that more.
Man, I agree 100%. And I feel like, because I go through ups and downs all the time, and, it's actually, I've gotten more into, meditation and really trying to do other things. Lately, I've been big on these Nordic saunas, the ice plunges and the sauna stuff, just trying to kind of settle my mind, look for clarity, look for the answers within instead of constantly asking opinions. Like, most times if you sit and let yourself just kind of process, solutions will come to you, or at least some clarity.
Yes.
And I'm a big believer in my gut, my intuition. But I've got to be tapped in to really trust that. I've got to take a step back. But those moments I'm stressing, I got to remind myself. And it was actually even a couple weeks ago, and I don't even know what I was stressed about. Right, like you said, and when you're in it, you're like, oh God, man.
Yeah.
And then
charged up, and you know exactly why.
And then next day, I'm good, but you don't take the time to think, well, I was feeling like this, and now I'm fine. And then when that next situation happens, you don't think, well, I made it through that one, so I'll be good on this. So it's a work. It's really a mental battle more than anything.
Yeah. As we close out here, Chris, there's this spirit about you that's just really calming and very. Is that nature or nurture? Have you always been that way, or have you become this way? Because there's just kind of this really good spirit about you, like
Thank
this
you,
energy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
man.
that's just like, I don't know.
I want to say it's always been there, but I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Obviously looking back, I remember like in 7th grade, my teacher picked me to go to some leadership camp. And it was things like that in the time, you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to this thing, whatever, go hang out with the guys.
Sure.
But when I really think back, I'm like, all right, it seems to me that there was things people noticed in me before I noticed in myself.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer in energy and positivity, and it's funny you say that because it really, when I was working corporate, you don't get that feedback. People are, when they're coaching you, they're going by a guideline almost. It's less feel, it's structured. Like this is how we train our people. But I've realized the more I've interacted with more entrepreneurs, that's important. People pick up on that, and I think when you get to the point where you can choose who you want to work with, that's huge. And I believe in that too. If I have a good energy from you or a good vibe, I love that.
Yeah. That
to me is something deeper that can't be explained, and that tells me, all right, this person's someone that I want to continue to. I'm interested. I want to learn more about.
Yeah, I talk to a lot of people, and I don't say that to every person.
I appreciate that, man.
It's definitely your one of your strengths.
Thank you.
Cool, man. Chris, where everybody keep up with you as we close out here. I know you mentioned a couple, but let's plug all of it.
Yeah. Genesis Reference Labs is the medical lab. So if you're a doctor or, looking for some good lab testing, look us up. Vacay.usa, take a vacay.com. Go get yourself some sleep gummies, some Delta 8 CBG gummies, and be on the lookout in the next couple of months for Diabri Diamonds. If you need an engagement ring for your girl, we got you covered.
There we go.
Yeah.
Chris, really enjoyed it. Look forward to getting to know you better and making some hay with some diamonds.
Absolutely.
Hey, guys, you know where to find me. I'm at Ryan Alford on all the platforms. You can find us at theradcast.com. Search for Chris Hansen. You'll find all the highlight clips from today from beautiful Palm Desert. We'll see you next time on the Radcast.